Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and we're going to talk about linear functions today. Well, more than talking, we're just going to do some problems. Again, I chose 3 easy, 3 medium, and 3 difficult questions. So make sure you pause the video before each question and try it for yourself before you check out my answer. Alright, it should be around 15-20 minutes. Sit down with me, practice, and October exam is around the corner, so let's get ready together. Alright, what do we have here? We've got, let's see, let me grab my pen, there you go. The function f is defined by fx equal to 25x plus 30. What is the value of fx when x is equal to 2? Pretty easy question. We already have the equation. What's the value of fx when x is equal to 2? So basically we're looking for f2. That's going to be 25 times 2 plus 30 and 50 times plus 30, and that's going to be 80. So the answer is going to be C. For the linear function f, b is a constant and f7 is equal to 28. What is the value of b? So they gave us the value of f7, meaning f7 is equal to 4 times 7 plus b equals to 28, right? So we have only one variable here, so we can probably solve it. So 28 plus b is equal to 28, and turns out our b is actually equal to 0. So the answer is going to be A. Gabriela deposits $35 in saving account. At the end of each week, at the beginning of the first week of the year, there was $600 in the savings account. How much money in dollars will be in the account at the end of fourth week? So, not that we need a graph, but at the beginning we have 600, right? And every week she puts 35. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we started with 600, and every week we put 35. So you can bring it into an equation, y equal to 600 plus 35x, or if you like it in terms of mx plus b, you can write it as 35x plus 600, which 600 is the initial amount and 35x represents x represents weeks. So in 4 weeks, it says how much money in dollars will be in the account at the end of fourth week. So when x is equal to 4, y is going to be equal to 35 times 4 plus 600, and 35 times 4 is 140 plus 600, so the answer is going to be 740. D. According to a model, the head width in millimeters of a worker bumblebee can be estimated by adding 0.6 to 4 times the body weight of the bee. So the equation says fx should be equal to 4 times the body weight, I'll just put it like that, by adding 0.6 to it. Okay, that's our equation. According to the model, what would be the head width in millimeters of a worker bumblebee that has a body weight of 0.5? Now, very easy question. You might say, why is that under medium? But probably because of, you have to actually figure out that from the words, which some people find it difficult. So, plus 0.6, 4 times 0.5 is 2, plus 0.6, that's going to be 2.6. Cool? Next one. The function f is defined by fx equal to 4x plus kx minus 1, where k is a constant and f5 is 32. What is the value of f10? So fx is equal to 4x plus k times x minus 1. Now, I want to bring it into mx plus b shape, okay? Meaning, if I open the bracket, I'll get 4x plus kx minus k. So these are my two terms that are related with x. Now when I find f5, I can say 4 times 5 plus k times 5 minus k, and that should be equal to 32. So 20 plus 5k minus k is 4k is equal to 32. 4k is equal to 12 and k is equal to 3. But we're not looking for k, we're looking for f10. f10. So f10 is going to be equal to 4 times 10 plus 3 times 10 minus 1. I'm just using the original equation here. So 40 plus 3 times 9 is 27. So the answer is going to be 67. In the xy plane, the graph of linear function f contains the points 0, 3 and 7, 31. Which equation defines f where y equal to fx? So we know 2 points. Now if you know 2 points about on a line, you can actually find everything about it, right? You can find your m, you can find your b, etc., etc. But we can make it potentially a bit quicker. We can check the answers actually. We can, plug in the values and see which one satisfies both. But before we do that, there's actually one more step we can do to eliminate some of the options. Now I see that they gave me x-intercept. Meaning, when x is 0, y is 3. Okay, and we know from the equation of line mx plus b that b is our x-intercept. Y-intercept, sorry. Y-intercept. When x is 0, b is our y-intercept. So, if when x is 0, y is 3, that means b has to be 3. So I know for a fact that a and b is not going to be our answer because the b is not equal to 3. So I'm left with c and d, and now I can test them out. Now I can test them out because the first point works for both of them, 0, 3. And 7, 31, we can test it. For example, this one, 4 times 7 plus 3 is equal to 28 plus 3, which is 31. There you go, that's probably your answer. And the next one, just for fun, 7 times 7 plus 3, that's 49 plus 3, and that's 52. So the answer is going to be C. A window repair specialist charges $220 for the first 2 hours of the repair, plus an hourly fee for each additional hour. The total cost for 5 hours of repair is $400. Which function f gives the total cost in dollars for x hours of repair, where x is greater than 2? Now this one a bit tricky question, because you might be tempted to see that there is an initial charge of 220 and then use it as your y-intercept, but it doesn't really say that this is an initial cost, but rather it's the cost for the first 2 hours. So let's see what we can do here. If we have 400 for 5 hours, so imagine that we've got a 5-hour window. This is first 2 hours, and then 3, 4, and 5. So for the first 2, I get 220, and for total of 5, we got 400. So the remaining is 180. So for the last 3 hours, I got 180, which makes my hourly rate past 2 hours. My hourly rate after 2 hours is going to be 180. So hourly rate, 180 divided by 3, which is 60. So after 2 hours, I start making 60 per hour. Okay. Now, if we didn't have that condition, my equation would be 60x plus, let's say, 220, assuming 220 is your like flat fee. But what our equation says, we get paid after 2 hours, not the first two, after 2 hours. So starting from hour 3, we should actually start calculating that. So our equation is going to be 60 times x minus 2, yx minus 2, because again, we start getting paid hourly after the 2 hours. So if I put 2, it becomes 0. At 3, I'm actually starting to make 220 plus that. So this is going to be, I'm just going to open the bracket here, 60x minus 120 plus 220. And that's going to be 60x plus 100. So the answer is going to be A. Okay? A bit tricky, this one. The graph of a linear function y equal to fx plus 19 is shown if c and d are positive constants. Which equation could define f? All right, fx plus 19. So this is fx plus 19. Okay. It's a linear function if c and d are positive constants. Which equation could define f? Okay, I see that this graph is going downwards, right? This is a downward graph, which makes m, meaning the slope, negative. So I know for a fact that m needs to be less than 0. Now what is m? M is the coefficient of x. So I'm looking at my answers here, A, B, C, D, and I see that only A and B has negative slope, so C and D are out. Okay. Now I'm left with negative d minus cx and d minus cx. Now all I have to do here is to see that if c and d are positive constants, right? Well, that's why actually we eliminated c and d, because if c was negative, then we would eliminate a and b. And fx plus 19, fx plus 19. So okay, negative d or d. Now we're looking for what are we looking for? We're looking for y-intercept, right? So d in this equation, or negative d, if we have y equal to mx plus b. B represents your what? Your y-intercept, meaning when x is 0, y equals to b. Now when x is 0, I see that my y is actually a positive value. Seems like it's 3. Doesn't matter what it is, but it seems like it's in positive value. And we know from the question that d is a positive constant. So I need my d to be positive. So the answer is going to be B. Does that make sense? So you can think of it as negative cx plus d. We need a positive y-intercept. So that's why I chose B. The table value of x, the table shows two values of x and their corresponding values of y. The graph of linear equation representing this relationship passes through the point 1 divided by 4 and a. What is the value of a? What is the value of a? Now, if you know 2 points on the graph, that means you can find everything about the graph. Now, we can find the equation of the line, and then once we have the equation of the line, we can put 1 over 4 for x and then see what y is equal to. Very simple, right? To find the equation of the line, what do I need? I need the slope. So m is equal to 45 minus negative 45 divided by 6 minus 12. So that's going to be 90. This is going to be 18. 90 divided by 18, I believe, is 5. So I can pick any point, slope-intercept form. Y minus 45 is equal to, I chose the second one, 5 times x minus 6. I can open it up. Y minus 40, let's do that. Y equals to 5x minus 30. I open the second bracket and add the 45. So 5x plus 15 is my equation, right? And if I now plug in 1 over 4 for x, so I'm looking for basically f1 over 4, and that's going to be 5 times 1 over 4 plus 15. 5 times 1 over 4 I think is 125 plus 15, and that's going to be 1625. Alright, that concludes linear functions. 3 easy, 3 medium, 3 hard questions. Hopefully you guys got some practice. Make sure to check out all the questions. And if you have any questions, please do let me know. And you can also let me know what topics or questions you would like to see next. But until then, I'm going to continue with my own schedule, and I will see you guys in the next one.